When Jenna told me she needed to live alone for a while, she said it like someone announcing a diet or a new hobby, casual, almost cheerful. We were sitting in our kitchen, the same one we'd picked tile by tile 3 years ago. I'd just come home from work, still smelling like rain and asphalt. She didn't look angry, just distant. "I need space, Nate," she said, tracing the rim of her coffee mug. "Not forever, just space." I remember staring at the refrigerator, at the magnet that held up our wedding photo. I wasn't sure which part of the sentence hurt more, not forever or space. I asked if I'd done something wrong. She shook her head. "No, you haven't. I just want to find myself again." That's the phrase that kills more marriages than infidelity ever could. Find myself. I didn't argue. Maybe part of me thought giving her what she wanted would somehow bring her back faster. Within 2 weeks, she'd signed a lease on a small one-bedroom apartment across town. I helped her move boxes. I even fixed her curtain rod and replaced the batteries in her smoke detector. That's what love looks like when it's dying politely. Quiet favors between people who can't say what they really feel. The first night without her felt heavier than I expected. The house was too silent. I could still smell her shampoo on the pillow. Every drawer I opened had something of hers hiding in it. A hair tie, a receipt, a memory. For the next few weeks, I tried to give her the freedom she asked for. I didn't text. I didn't call. She sent the occasional "hope you're okay" message, but they felt like post-it notes left on a closed door. I poured myself into work, into silence, into pretending it was all normal. My friends told me she'd come around once she realized what she lost. But that's the problem. People don't always realize. Some just drift, convinced they're missing something when in reality they're just walking away from peace. About a month later, I got a message from her late one night. "Hey, can we talk?" I called her immediately. She sounded nervous, softer than I remembered. "Everything okay?" I asked. "Yeah, things have been a little tight. The rent's higher than I expected. I didn't realize how expensive living alone would be." There it was. The subtext behind every finding myself speech. The assumption that independence costs nothing. I told her I could lend her some money if she needed help. She paused. "I was thinking maybe I could stay at the house for a while, just until I figure things out." I wanted to believe this was about more than rent, that maybe she missed us. So I said yes. When she came back that weekend, she brought only a few bags. She moved around the house like a guest, polite, detached, overly careful. I tried to act normal, cooking dinner, making conversation, but it felt like two strangers reenacting a marriage from memory. That night, she fell asleep on the couch while watching TV. I sat beside her, just staring at her face. It should have felt comforting. Instead, it felt like standing outside a window, watching a home that wasn't mine anymore. The next morning, she thanked me for letting her stay. She said she was grateful for my kindness. No warmth, no intimacy, just gratitude, the polite kind that makes you feel smaller. I realized then that she hadn't come back to rebuild anything. She'd come back because bills had done what love couldn't, made her reconsider her choices. Still, I didn't say anything. Pride can masquerade as patience when you love someone enough to wait for them to change their mind. A week passed. She started leaving earlier for work, coming home later. Her phone never left her hand. The house felt occupied, not shared. Then one night she said, "I'm sorry if this feels weird. I just need some time to settle emotionally." That was the moment something inside me shifted, not with anger but with understanding. I realized I wasn't her partner anymore. I was her safety net. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of her blender in the kitchen. She was making one of those green smoothies she used to post on Instagram, the ones that made our kitchen look like a lifestyle ad. I stood in the doorway and watched her, move around like she was living in a hotel suite, polite, temporary, untouched by memory. "Morning," I said. She smiled faintly. Morning. That was it. Two people sharing oxygen, nothing more. I noticed she'd taken over the guest bathroom with her things. Hair straightener, skincare, perfume. Not our old bathroom, though. She'd left that one alone, like a museum exhibit of a life she'd outgrown. Later that evening, she sat across from me at the dinner table, scrolling through her phone while eating. I asked how work was going. She said fine, then went quiet again. Finally, I said, "Jenna, are we going to talk about what this really is?" She looked up, eyes cautious. "What do you mean?" "I mean, are you here because you missed me, or because the rent was due?" Her fork froze mid-air. For a moment, she didn't breathe. Then she sighed, setting it down carefully. "It's not like that," she said softly. "I just needed some time to figure things out. I didn't expect everything to get so expensive so fast." I nodded. "I understand. But you didn't answer the question." She looked away. That was my answer. Something inside me let go right then. The tension I'd been holding, the hope I'd been nursing. I wasn't angry. I was free. That night, I slept in the guest room. It wasn't about punishment. It was about clarity. When you finally stop chasing someone's love, silence becomes your peace treaty. A few days later, she told me she'd found a cheaper place and would be moving out again. She tried to sound apologetic, but the relief in her voice betrayed her. I helped her pack her things again the same way I had the first time. As we loaded the last box into her car, she stood by the open door and said, "You've been amazing through all this, Nate. I don't deserve how kind you've been." I smiled, but it wasn't for her. It was for me. "You're right," I said. "You don't." She blinked, surprised. Not offended, just caught off guard by honesty that didn't try to hurt. For the next week, I didn't hear from her. Then one Friday evening, around the 1st of the month, my phone buzzed. Her name flashed on the screen. I already knew what it was about before I opened it. "Hey, I was wondering if I could stay for a few days. The new place has a delay with the lease paperwork." I didn't reply right away. I stared at the message for a while, then finally typed, "I hope it works out for you. I'm heading out of town for a bit." She texted back a few dots, then nothing. That was the last time I heard from her. I didn't actually go out of town that weekend. I just stayed home, cooked for myself, watched a movie, fell asleep on the couch. The house felt empty, but for the first time, the emptiness didn't hurt. It was mine again. People think love ends in screaming matches and slammed doors. Sometimes it ends quietly, with someone realizing they were only needed when things got hard. Months passed. I started seeing life differently, lighter, more deliberate. I began to notice small joys again, the smell of coffee, the sound of rain on the windows, my own breathing when I wasn't trying to fill the silence with someone else's noise. One evening, while sorting through old photos, I found our wedding picture, the one from the fridge. I didn't feel bitterness, just a kind of distant gratitude. That chapter had given me lessons I couldn't have learned any other way. If you ask me now whether I'd take her back, the answer is simple. No. Not because I hate her, but because I finally understand something she didn't. Love isn't about needing someone to stay. It's about choosing to. She needed space to find herself. I hope she did. As for me, I found something too. A version of myself that doesn't beg to be chosen, and when the rent was due again, I didn't get a message. But by then, I wouldn't have answered anyway. Because sometimes walking away isn't losing. It's reclaiming the home you built inside yourself.